Welcome back to episode 2 of Unfiltered Sports Podcast. And today we're going to be talking about Nikola Jokic. More specifically, did Nikola Jokic have a top, or does Nikola Jokic have a top 5 peak of all time right now? All right, Jackson, do you want to start us off with the conversation?
So, I think so, People can argue with it. I think he deserved that MVP over Shea. Shea averaged almost, or what is that, 4.5 more points, something like that. But Jokic had 3 more assists. Obviously, he mattered more to his team. I don't think you can argue that. But he had almost 3 more assists. He had almost 7 more rebounds. He had 4 more, like his his field goal percentage was 4% higher. He was almost 20. He was like 15% higher on the 3-point percentage. So he led him on all stats. He had more points. But a lot of Shea's points came from free throws, and you know how the refs be calling Shea's fouls. We all know about that, but so.
All right.
You got anything else to say?
Yes, he deserved another MVP in 2022-2023 when Joel Embiid won it. Jokic got robbed. Let's compare some of their stats. All right, points. Embiid led 33 to Jokic's 24.5. Rebounds, Jokic leads by about 1. Assists, Jokic averages 5 more assists. He averages, his field goal percentage is higher by about 9%. His 3-point percentage is higher by 5%. His free throw percentage a little bit lower, 70% true shooting compared to Joel Embiid's 65%. Um, and Jokic had a box plus minus of 13 compared to Joel Embiid having a 9.2. Obviously, okay, he led him in points and like one other stat, and everyone that season thought that Nikola Jokic got robbed there as well as last season.
And also, in that, like, the points and the stats might not necessarily say it, he had a huge differential in points, but you also got to realize that Jokic isn't that much of a team player, he is a team player, sorry. He plays alright, or pretty good defense, He matters way more to his team than Joel Embiid did. Joel Embiid, ain't that good in the playoffs. He won a championship that year. And let's look at that championship. He at first, they beat they beat the Timberwolves with Ant. They weren't really good that year. It was a easy sweep. Or no, it was actually a gentleman's sweep. And then after that, they played the Phoenix Suns. Chris Paul, Kevin Durant, D-Book, all of them. Beat them 4-2, 6 games, and then they beat the 7th seed Los Angeles Lakers in a sweep, and then a gentleman's sweep in the championship against Jimmy Butler. That's a pretty impressive road to the finals, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm. Also,
It's just
Jokic, he is so valuable to his team. He makes his team like 25 times better when he's on the court. Without Jokic, the Nuggets are nothing. Let's be real. Jokic makes everybody around him better, and he leads his team to wins constantly. And he could potentially lead them to 1, 2. It's a stretch to say 3, but it's still possible. 3 more championships. He's like 30, 31 years old. He still has time left to bring his team a couple of chips.
this year they have Cam Johnson, pretty good player coming out of Chapel Hill. They have Aaron Gordon. Is that his name?
Mm-hmm. Jamal
And then
Murray.
they have, obviously, Jamal Murray, he's a little inconsistent, you know. If Jamal Murray played like he did on his good nights every night, the Denver Nuggets would be the best team in the NBA. But without Jokic, they're terrible. They're not. They're just not that good.
And again, we're talking about a man that averages a 30-point triple double, who also has put up a 60, 20, and 20 stat line one time in a game before. This man is arguably top 10 of all time to some people. He will retire top 10, if not higher on the list, by the time he is finished with his career. Jokic is like Jokic is like insane. He's like a different tier of NBA player, because it's kind of weird to have a fat Serbian who is the best player in the league who also doesn't care that he's the best player in the league.
And he has unmatched basketball IQ. He has a unique combination of size and Wemby. He's shooting like step back
Yeah.
threes. He doesn't do it as much as Wemby, but he can shoot a three. He's at 40%. He has elite passing, efficient scoring, exceptional court vision. And let's not forget, this guy was drafted during a Taco Bell commercial. That's impressive to go from your draft getting your draft spot not even getting acknowledged to a
A
top 10,
quesarito.
arguably top 10 greatest. Yeah, honestly, if you ask me, I think a top 10 NBA player all time is more important than a quesarito from Taco Bell.
Though Taco Bell is arguably the greatest fast food, Jokic is also insane. You
That
know,
is not.
like just keep this in mind. Jokic is one MVP away to having as many MVPs as LeBron James. He's two MVPs away from having as much as Michael Jordan. He, if Jokic, I think could retire with 3 rings and 4 MVPs. That solidifies him on the top 10 of all time, leaderboard or whatever you want to call it. Um, Also he led. I'm pretty sure he led Serbia to a bronze medal in the Olympics in 2024. Who else was on that team
Yeah.
besides Nikola
He always.
Jokic?
Nikola Jovic on the Miami Heat was on that team. Other than that, I cannot tell you. Let me search up who was on that team real quick. And here I was looking at the game 56, 16, and 15 is pretty good stat line. He always does stuff like that. He always makes things work. He always
Yeah.
has great games.
Always be putting up
The
obscure
only
stat
other
lines.
the only other player early on that team was like Bogan Bogdanovic, and yeah, that was basically it. So it
Yeah.
was basically him and himself. So I think there's a high chance in the next few years, Serbia could get that gold medal or maybe even
Yeah. Though it's
silver.
unlikely, Jokic, with the right help, like with the right teammates, they could potentially win gold. In what will it be, the 2028 Olympics? Yeah. Um, Anything else that like what else do we need to cover about Nikola Jokic? Like, what are some other potential top 5 peaks of all time? Like, I guess like LeBron in 2018, Jordan in the 90s, like late 80s, early 90s, Jordan. Uh,
Yeah.
some people say like James Harden 2018.
Well,
Um,
a peak more like over time. So I don't think that James Harden season is up there. I think that it's more over time to have a great peak. It's just my opinion. And I think like I don't know, I just I just can't get over the fact that he's deserved. If he continues the season how it is, he's gonna win the MVP. That'll be what, third, fourth MVP.
Fourth.
Yeah, but we all know he deserves six. But that's just how the voting committee is. Michael Jordan, LeBron should have both had more MVPs, but voter fatigue is a real thing. They don't like to see the same winner over and over and over again.
Yeah, when you're
But
seeing this dude, wait, sorry, finish.
when if the MVP vote was solely on who's the greatest, like say it was like this, we had to vote an MVP, and whoever that MVP was is playing an alien that has a laser beam pointed at our Earth.
Hmm.
We're sending. I'm gonna be honest. I think most people would send out Jokic. I don't think they'd send out Shea.
True.
That's
Jokic can truly carry his team to dominance. It just depends. It just depends how his teammates, how much they want to contribute. Like we're talking about peak, a peak for an NBA player that would be like what's their true shooting? What's their scoring? Like how elite is their scoring? How elite is their playmaking? Like some peaks, like I said, Jordan, LeBron, and then uh I searched it up. Jokic is already on that list of peaks. Jokic's 2020 to present day peak is already showing up as an example of a peak for an NBA player. So obviously the narrative of Jokic having a top five peak of all time is already out there with many people probably already have that thought in mind. So yeah, we'll just have to see what it all comes down to.
And another thing I'd like to say, the offensive rating of the Nuggets is the worst in the NBA without him. With him, they're up there as one of the best. So that just really shows like how he matters. He's also a leader. That's something that you can't really show in the stat book. Like Tyrese Halliburton, he was a clear leader. The
Yeah.
second he
Yeah.
got injured, the team fell apart. That's the same thing with Jokic. When he's out, it's not just what he does on the court. Well, that's obviously a huge part of it, but part of it is also that they part of it is also that the leadership. They lack leadership out there. I just don't think Jamal Murray's that guy to lead them when
Jokic
Jokic
is
ain't out.
that guy. He's the
Yeah.
only
I just
guy that could be considered that guy for the Nuggets. Like I think every team has one, maybe two of people that could be considered that guy. Jokic is the clear favorite for that guy on the Nuggets. He'd be that guy on a bunch of other teams as well. Um,
he'd be that guy on every other team in the NBA.
yeah,
If you
arguably
ask
he
me.
could.
Not arguably, in my opinion, that's a pretty solid take. He's the MVP, or he deserves the MVP. He's averaging a triple double. That doesn't just happen every day, every season. He almost averaged a triple double last year. He was point 0.8 assists, I think, away from it, which is pretty
Insane.
impressive.
Like, think
Yeah.
your team is getting blown out, and the leading scorer is some fat Serbian that looks like Gru, who also doesn't care about basketball. And, like, he's just destroying your team with ease. He doesn't care. It's not his main priority. His main priority is just horses, like, all the way across the world. And he's still dropping 60, like, on some
Yeah,
random Tuesday night.
the video of him popping the champagne next to the horse,
Yep.
that's classic.
They had to force him to pop the
So,
champagne back in 2023, but he did it willingly when his horse wins a race in Serbia, which shows how
all
much
right.
basketball really means to Jokic because it doesn't really mean anything to him.
Yeah, I think our final claim, he's having a top five peak ever, and a bonus claim, I think he would be way better if he actually cared. Alright, so that's the video. Thanks for watching. This is me, Jackson Swing. That's Eli Pike. Y'all know us from last episode. Unless y'all are new. If y'all are new, tune into the first episode. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.